Okay, so you almost know about the situation in Miami. In Miami, situation was nothing, something that it would relate to what they have suggested me all along. And the people from Southern Florida Employment One Stop Work Center, as I had already stated, we're here in this very house, in this very room all along. That's how it all started. Together with other politicians and all that stuff. Nothing, really nothing came as what they have suggested would be the case with me upon return back to United States, how they're going to help me. None of that help really ever came out. Really was exactly something different that any sane white individual would anticipate as help. First of all, when it comes to females, white females, I did not have the right to even look at them. I was humiliated. I was subjected to continuous rejection. It so happens to be David Duke's daughter, Erica, over there as well. And as I did not appeal to many women, I'm going to say, or I should say all the women that were there, one of the women I did appeal. I did appeal to her, to his daughter that was about the same age as I was too, and it did not go well along with her daddy, with whom she was there. It just did not match the criteria of the real David Duke. I was not rated as an Aryan by David Duke, so it would not be something that David Duke would want to really have to participate in his family or something like that, relate to his family. No, no, it was not. Okay, it's all about the help. I understand anyhow that she ends up marrying a British, even the British Nationalist Party member with whom she conceived child, and afterwards, I don't know, divorced or whatever, whichever way life took turn. But I was just not good enough for anybody. But when it comes to black females and Latinas and you name it, it's really, really hard for any individual that is sane in the head to be really without the female. And it's the hardest thing that I have gone through throughout all this course. It's literally deprivation of the sanity, how I see it. It's the worst torture that takes place against the individual. It's the worst weapon. And these butchers, these assassins, they have no limits when it comes to deprivation of basic right to existence in individual. They don't have any mercy. They don't have any mercy. They have recruited these females across Miami, offered them language courses, Norwegian, Swedish, whatever, pay them to attend those classes, and have them shipped overseas to Europe. At large, you see, this was a help to me. They have totally opened the gates of Europe, in other words, and have just let the whole river of this completely uneducated, whatever, welfarians go to Europe and just suck the blood, European money and future and everything you can imagine only. I don't think that I have to clarify myself what the plan was and is, and it's today for the people that have participated back then. And you're talking about the Uyghurs. You're talking about the losers, people that have committed themselves to destroy their own nations, white nations in Europe that have later on resettled back to their homelands. And in other words, this employment agencies, workforce, people who work at employment agencies, Sweden, Norway, just as I have suggested to you, Britain and so on, they all have gone back to their countries, and they have, you know what they have done over there? They have assisted those immigrants, in a parenthesis, that they have, how would you say, implanted in our societies, forcefully implanted in our societies with their needs, whatever those needs were, anywhere from housing, jobs, and they have additionally, created the path for more and more invaders in our countries. This was pretty much the situation. This is exactly what the situation was. I'm already suggesting in Europe. But I have some completely other issues to talk to you about now. Benjamin Netanyahu was involved in this case totally. He totally handled this case since sometimes 96, 97. And I mean totally. He was in this store in Miami downtown with my ex-wife more often than anybody else was. The two have totally conversed with one another, and he have suggested her that I am a Nazi, and have, I don't know, educated her and brainwashed, and just what evil Nazis are and what evil I am, and she just probably could not see that part in me, as this is something that I have not appeared to be as. But she definitely took his side, and she knows about Benjamin Netanyahu much more than I do. She knew about every abduction. She knew about everything about what was going on. And her name is Teresa Baquero from Ecuador, from Quito. And it's definitely the person to get on a hold of for her to tell the truth about what was taking place. She was not subject to any treatments such as MK Ultras, ECTs, injections and such stuff that I was subjected to. So her memory is way better than mine. Okay? Definitely something to consider. So this Benjamin Netanyahu, who hated me so much and who have literally openly suggested her in front of me, yeah, this is how confident this parasite really was and is about me. He at the same time have calmed her, when she started to say, but if it's like this, but shouldn't be something done against people like this and this and that. No, we need him. Okay, we need him. So Benjamin Netanyahu really anticipated something big. We have to use him. We need him. There was really nothing legal anybody could do against individual like myself. But he obviously was an architect about something, which already I have talked to you about, but we'll talk to you about more about. Back to Europe, what the situation was, and this is my call for you, pro-white nationalist parties, if this is what you really are, for you to get involved in this very case, because of what I'm about to talk to you right now. I don't know, first of all, what this pro-white nationalist parties, this also individuals that were here in this very house, in this very place, knew or were told. Please keep in mind that this case was literally handled by people like Merkel, Cameron, Sarkozy, and some others. Also, we'll talk in continuation all this stuff. What they were told about, what have they seen this cause as something that would be positive, something that would have benefit for them. Maybe they have seen as well as mine what they have done to me here in this pro-Yugoslav Slovenia, this pro-Soviet, pro-Serbian shithole known as Slovenia. And this is exactly the stuff I have written to you about on my blogs, or how I have literally escaped from my life to the United States at age 23. Maybe they have seen what have happened to me overseas when I have settled for that job aboard the cruise line Meridian, literally for 20-hour, 7 days a week job with $300 per month pay. It was less than that. And I have proven that on my blogs. After deducting the plane ticket and everything, it was less than literally $300 per month. I think that's slavery unheard and unseen in the history of the world. Maybe it was what they were doing to me in Miami, with those jobs that more related to anything else, torture, part-time jobs than anything else. I don't know what the issue was. They have seen this cause as a prosperous. They got involved in it. Whether they had choice to get involved in it or not. Now, this is something that I am about to discuss with you about. The individual who have declined to get involved with this scum, or I should say, to have anything to do with it, you're talking about really Eastern European communist garbage, was in fact Jörg Haider. Jörg Haider, just like myself, or I should say just as any healthy individual at the right mind from this area, from this part of the world, never ever would or will want to have anything to do with this scum. This is just the way things are. You just don't, we just don't do any talk.
Dugri!
Like Benjamin Netanyahu. But the question, to be or not to be, is whether these people who were here, and I mean literally that people from NPD, from German NPD were here, people from FPÖ, Jörg Haider was here, and some other nationalist parties of names, and what parties were, will not mention. If you want to come forward, come. If you don't want to clarify yourself, don't. The fact, however, is that in this very room where I'm right now, a local Slovenian Novo Mesto police and individual, what appeared to be CIA individual, Mark Potok, was involved in all this stuff all along. And also the German, in front of the German, will not say who, how, but it was suggested to me, and it was more than just on one occasion, it was more, it was repeated to me, that that everybody is willing, from all these parties, they're willing to step together and help me. You know, as I have stated, it's going to be for your help, for your sake. The only person that would not be willing to participate in this would be Jörg Haider, just like myself. He was unwilling to have anything to do with the scum, and he was really torn in the butt to them, I understand. But it was Angela Merkel, I understand, and they say, indirectly, they said, very with a great confidence, but that's something that we'll take care of, that can be taken care of. And I did ask, I said, what are you talking about? Right here, at this very table, under MK Ultras, it was, and they say, we'll get, this we already have talked about, doesn't matter. And it was really in 1998 suggested to me that they would assassinate him if he would not get involved in this cause. It was just as simple as that. And the one who have placed the contract on his head, or I should say ultimatum, was actually Angela Merkel. It was the German side, the one from the Germany and not Austria, the one who have ultimatum him whether he's going to get involved in this cause or not. Now, the one who have handled Angela Merkel, however, was nobody else than John Kerry. John Kerry is a foreign secretary, United States, and this foreign secretary was greatly involved in these abductions against me and have threatened me on behalf of Benjamin Netanyahu alone, that as long as that I will not contradict Jewish views, Jews, Israel, Netanyahu, and so on, everything that will be fine. In other words, your cause will be great, will be supported and everything, but don't say anything about Jews, because I am a Jew, in other words. And how much am I a Jew? Well, I am so much Jew that on one occasion I was literally thrown on the plane and flown all the way to Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu have give himself a little bit too much, you know. He actually put his hands on me inside of the Israel, but it was just a friendly gesture. It was just a friendly gesture, you know, choking individual like myself, from John Kerry, that Benjamin Netanyahu is the man, literally in charge of my life. And as long as everything would go along well, that it would be stuff that it would be on the news, and they have literally subjected me to a picture. And it's something that I was mentioned also, that John Kerry was used the same treatment against other people, obviously pro-white people, obviously people who already have walked this very same road before me. If everything would be okay, but if things would go wrong, then I would get completely different news to see, like bones fall in the sky, like the one you see right now, or people pointing at you, exactly that picture that you see right there. I was brainwashed with Governor Christie, Port, pointing finger. That means that you already, when you see that picture, bones falling off the sky, stuff, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, and stuff like that. Yeah, folks, this is not any schizophrenia. I have mentioned in previous video that I am already way over the clouds right now, so I'm not gonna keep back anymore anything at all. If you will dare to ever say something like I have stated, if you will ever dare to say that what I have already stated, how this local psychiatrist was involved in torture against me, if you will ever say, let's say, how you already were tortured in this very hospital prior to a hospitalization in so-called Slovenia, Ljubljana, if you will say this, if you will say that, we will say that it is schizophrenia. So you don't want to say that, because people will get impression that it is schizophrenia, right? Do you understand that? Do you understand that this was a repetition on more than 1,000 occasions by these maniacs, assassins to me, under MK Ultra procedures, that whatever you will say for each step along the way, whatever you will say will be most likely rated as a schizophrenia. Do you understand? What did we say? Schizophrenia. This is the brainwashing under MK Ultras that is done. Wow. I'm not going to say how much. Okay, is to discourage individual at all costs to come forward with the truth, to retard, to retardate, and of course to destroy the cause itself. Because if you're not going to say that, for instance, this have happened at that time, you're definitely not going to be able to say that that have happened at the time. In the next video, I'll be talking to you literally not only about how this local psychiatrist was involved in torture against me, how I was subjected to torture by individuals that I have mentioned in this hospital in Ljubljana prior to forced hospitalization, but I will be literally pointing you out that Ministry Justice of so-called Slovenia, the Serbian, literally was involved in abductions. I will be pointing you out with the proofs, okay, with the proofs, how far this Eastern European communist scum have gone to get a hold of me after I have immigrated to the United States in '95. You understand that? I'm claiming that the minister for the justice, for the court, for the justice in so-called Slovenia, present minister, was involved in abductions. That's a quiet claim. I'm claiming the court of Novo Mesto, the people who have denied me the right to financial aid were involved in abductions. I'm claiming the people from Ljubljana, the supervision that's supposed to be for the justice, for judicial system in Slovenia, were involved in abduction. I have actually proofs. How about this? Okay? If I wouldn't claim what I did along the way, things the way I did, in fact, as they have suggested me, if you will say this, it's going to be a schizophrenia. If you will say this, it's going to be a schizophrenia. Then obviously I would not be able to present you the proofs that I have and which I'm about to present you with in my following video. But let's go back to this issue with Angela Merkel. Okay. I was suggested literally that it is chain of command, literally, for the German side to be literally subject to chain of command from United States, John Kerry, a messenger, and was also suggested that John Kerry did not carry out anything else other than whatever he was told to do literally by Benjamin Netanyahu. And then you know what? In 2004, Heinz Fischer was elected. Heinz Fischer is a Jew in Austria as a president. And more interesting, I don't have so much issue with Heinz Fischer alone. I actually cherish him that he had enough guts to come here to so-called Slovenia and demand same minority status for us Germans as so-called Slovenians have in Austria. All through that so-called Slovenians had not only integrated in Austrian society, in German society, to the point that if you would suggest them, if you would ask them if they're Slovenian, due to their last names, they would spit in your eyes if you would dare to insult them like this. This is the reality about where we live, right here in so-called Slovenia. Of course, he was denied the right that minority status for Germans would be established in so-called Slovenia. It is something that Jörg Haider have fought for, and Jörg Haider was greatly thorn in the butt to this communist Eastern European pro-Serbian scum, which have, by the way, during the times of Yugoslavia, when 7 different republics were thrown in the same basket, had literally Serbs populate the area amongst on the border with between what is now Slovenia and Austria to come out with minority status demands and stuff like that. So it was something completely different. The politic behind this Austrian politic was something completely different. What they want is they want something else. They want to continue what was nothing else than a phony peace. World War II, 70 years old, white genocide project is nothing else than a phony peace. Iron Curtain was nothing else than a phony peace. And what have taken behind or after Iron Curtain, go ahead and ask people in Latvia, Estonia, or Ukraine. You can see what's happening. Where the Russia still wants to get, or I should say decapitate Europe in a no different pattern or way as what have taken place against the Finland prior even to World War II. When they have literally invaded Finland, about 150 million Soviets have marched on Finland against basically 5 million Finnish people. This is pretty much what it is. If it gets the phony peace that we were brainwashed how Germans had phony peace issues throughout the history. You want to know what the phony peace is? This is what the phony peace is. This is the bloody reality. But this Jörg Haider did not go along with anybody. He was pain in the butt for the Jews in Israel, and he was pain in the butt for this Eastern European communist scum that I have just mentioned to you. Now, if the communists here from Novo Mesto, right, from this little shithole here with a few thousand people, they have the file on Jörg Haider's assassination already in 1998 that this is going to take place. If he is not going to participate in it, then can you, Angela Merkel, for everything that I have suggested, can you tell me, can you explain to me honestly, in the eyes of the world, can you tell me that you actually don't have the information that I have just stated? Can you, FPÖ, of whose leader was Jörg Haider, or NPD that was here, tell me that you actually don't have what I have just stated to you right here, that literally your fellow man leader have most definitely conveyed to you he was suggested with. And in other words, that this white nationalist parties were conditioned with life or death for getting involved in this very case. It was not so much about bait thrown in the ocean, but it was about something else that was going on. So this is my call for you to get involved and come out clean about what have taken place in respect to this assassination of Jörg Haider, because this was assassination. And we know exactly by whom, how, and why. Good. In 7, I have filed for the human rights to UN, to United Nations, Amnesty International, International Criminal Court, you name it, American agencies for the human rights, ombudsmans, Slovenian ombudsman, American ombudsmans, Diamandouros, European human rights ombudsman have declined to assist me in the year 2009. That I am nothing, that I am a nonchalant, that I am a nonsense, there's nothing wrong. Everything is fine, was his definition. In 2007 also, it's a few days after I have submitted my complaints to mentioned institutions, I was summoned to a meeting to a Serb right here, about a few miles away from here, Serbian company owned by Serb, and suggested that I'm a traitor, literally. A Serbian literally suggested me my being traitor in my own country, on what just weeks after assassination plot have taken place against me, car assassination plot, which also you were able to see on my blogs. At the same period, more or less, Eugene Terreblanche was assassinated. I believe, frankly do believe, that Jörg Haider not only did not, from what I understand, want to collaborate in this matter with these criminals, but have further threatened them to reveal the whole thing. Now, what was it that Jörg Haider knew? What was it that Jörg Haider was about to reveal in respect to my case? What do you nationalist parties, European parties know that I don't know, that world doesn't know, but you do know, but you don't release for whatever reasons that you have? What is it that you have? What is it you're hiding? We want to know the truth about what he knew, and that obviously that he was such a pain in the butt. And I don't think it takes a genius to know who wanted, what wanted, how, and why. So I think this is a pretty good testimony and really a good way for you to get involved. If the local police had assassination file on Jörg Haider in 1998 already, and look, if this kind of a file only exists, and it does, this already is proof that he was assassinated. Jörg Haider was no fag, he was no gay, he was no different than I am. The way he was portrayed afterwards, it was outrageous. He was targeted all along to be embarrassed, to be literally used as what else than tool of Benjamin Netanyahu. And Heinz Fischer was elected in 2004. And as I stated, as much as he was not so much concerned to me about him being re-elected, his wife, however, was. And that's a Jewess, Margaret Fischer. Jewess, no different, actually much worse than Barbara Lerner Specter, who have immigrated to Sweden in order to destroy Sweden.
Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural, and I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode, and Jews will be resented because of our leading role.
She was actually, and she is much worse than Barbara Lerner. If it gets any worse than that. And Barbara Lerner pretty much have committed herself and publicly stated that Margaret Fischer actually was the one that have escaped from Nazi regime to the same place, to Sweden, to return afterwards to Austria, marry Austrian, two Jews married in a holy conquest against Germans, against Europeans. What else can I say about this? She was greatly participating in grants for the foreign children, for the third world, sucking blood, Austrian money, to promote anarchy, to destroy Austria alone, to destroy Europe at whatever cost. So, you got 2004, Heinz Fischer comes to power in Austria, Jew. In 2008 is when Jörg Haider was assassinated. You have Angela Merkel, Jewish, in Germany. You have John Kerry, carrying out order on behalf of Benjamin Netanyahu. And you have another Jew also in Vienna, in Austria. His name is Muzikant. He's a multimillionaire sent literally from Israel to Vienna, who also have threatened me under MK Ultra just how much Jews alone are present in this area where I am. And how influential they are. Go ahead and read yourself what you are dealing with. No, when I have stated that this Jews here in Europe literally get appointed, or I should say presidents literally get appointed through the Israel, I did not lie, I did not exaggerate about. I did not lie, I did not exaggerate about. This is reality, this is a real thing. When it comes something like 9/11 was, for instance, when I have literally ended up losing all my money, invested in stock market, or I should say savings, investments in America, in a better America, for which I have not worked, but more than just deprived my life of. The only individual really that it would come to his mind to realize something like 9/11 really was nobody else than Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, who have managed to literally spread the war, even now what was across the borders of the Israel, and literally use rednecks, white American people, my money literally, to buy the weapons for them to kill Arabs, Mid-Easterners, and themselves as well. As not only the whole mission, the whole mission was Operation Israel Over Borders, but most of those missions, and you can talk to this Iraqi veterans, and they will tell you exactly what I have stated to you. Most of those missions were just used to place American white soldiers in dangerous positions, to tire them, to expose them to abuse to dangerous situations, to drive them nuts, to get them into depression, to cripple them, to get them killed. Nothing else. Nothing else. This is what this was. And Benjamin Netanyahu, this individual is so criminally insane, bloodthirsty parasite. That is something that, from what I have seen, from what I have met him, such an evil I have not seen, or, one could believe it exists in this poor world. It is the evil Knievel. It's a Satan reincarnated is what it is. It's a parasite. It's a lich. And I'd be fucking damned if I am going to address scum like this as people. Shiboons. Parasites. Nothing more than that. It's, as you have seen, the
Dugri, however, I don't do with a scum filth like this. The Dugri, however,
did appeal to Jew Netanyahu. It did appeal to Jew Netanyahu. Jew Netanyahu, parasite Netanyahu, felt extremely empowered in Miami. So this parasite would pay visitations after 9/11, literally to the store, and in front of this Ecuadorian Indian with ex-wife, he would continue to propose what would be a
Dugri.
He believed, that he held literally God for the balls. He did not realize that the only one he held on to was his own balls. And he would challenge, he would push for what would be the
Dugri.
He would continue to suggest
Dugri.
What a courageous parasite, I would say. When it comes to Bush, George W. Bush, the hook-nosed Jew, only that, and this is the real story, folks, that Mossad Jewish agents that were released after 9/11, when caught celebrating, bombing the event itself, filming it, that were literally released by George W. Bush, they traveled back to Israel and have complied, I mean literally complied with what they were ordered to do by White House alone, by George W. Bush. George W. Bush was the one who have released these Jews. So he would come out, with a gesture, it was exactly how and why they were released. They were released so they could go on Israeli TV, where they would publicly, and I mean publicly, state that they were there to film event. In other words, something they could not deny, since they already were apprehended by police. But it was actually used later on to suggest us, white nationalists, myself in particular, because they were afraid more of me than they were afraid of anyone else, that it was done for my sake and that it is the Israel that wants to participate in this white cause.
And at that point we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
The 5 Israelis were detained for 10 weeks and finally deported on immigration violations after the FBI cleared them of any involvement in 9/11.
But then let's not forget Jenny, and let's not forget the Netanyahu. But you're not supposed to talk about the Israel. So, but I don't know how you're going to promote the cause like this when you're not allowed to talk about the Israel. But, well, this was the thing. This was nothing else than brain fucking clustering is what this was. So the John Kerry and United States of America 70 years self-elected news went even beyond that and have had granted Benjamin Netanyahu special, really special privileges, to the point when those terrorists would literally, this Mossad agents would literally pay me visits to the store. Folks, this is real reality. It's exactly how it was. And a broad daylight, they would come to me in my face in the store after 2001, after this, they were released back to Israel, and then they would come back literally from Israel. The United States of America State Department of Foreign Affairs would literally have them come in my face in the store. They would literally also stand up out of the store, and they would repeat it on many occasions, how they have come on public TV because of me, to help me. So they would want me to see the Israel to be participant in my white cause. Imagine this piece of shit parasites. This is the story about Benjamin Netanyahu, who will save the world. But then again, don't even dare to think about talking about the Israel as I have suggested, how I was instructed and brainwashed per not my even think, if you like. So now go and figure yourself what's happening with this psychiatry and everything else. I think this is the scum, the worst scum that have ever lived. And it was in that same period that Eugene Terreblanche was killed, and it was in 2007 that I almost was assassinated, car assassination plot. Go read the blogs. Go ahead. And just a year after that, it was Jörg Haider who was killed. Also, Mark Potok, of course, a very tight ally of Benjamin Netanyahu, would also have all kinds of people, pro-white nationalists, in a parenthesis, involved in this cause, even if those were not really pro-white nationalists, but were or I should say, per Eastern European communist garbage, such as Putin alone, that parasite that also dared to approach me, would have incredibly mentally sick and disturbed people involved in this cause, because they would like to, or I should say, they would want to create some kind of a global conspiracy so they could have their phony peace, you see, their 70 years old white genocide project, for the world to see one as something that was imminent, something that was posed a threat, something that had to be done. So, it just happened so that they had literally people that I'm not going to mention. They would have them incredible. This is a real story, folks. They would have them get involved. Beside what I have already suggested was this Serbian Jew here, this Mitja Weber, that was introduced or interjected in my family through this international philosopher Slavoj Žižek, Slavojko. Yes, they would have this Ruskis literally come, and and supposedly this would be also nationalists, and they would also help me in my cause. I don't know how these criminals, from what I see them, like what I see on the news and stuff, these are nothing else than really criminals, how they could help my cause other than, it would be really good for Putin and for Mark Potok and for the Netanyahus and for other garbage, to have them related to my cause. Otherwise, I don't know how any of those could possibly help me. Something like, let's say, have happened with this Norwegian communist, King Harald, who also was desperate because he just wants his 70 years old news going. He doesn't want the world to know the truth about what is going on. So they would come up with anything possible that they could disperse, that they could discourage, that they could evaluate you as schizophrenic, anything possible they could come up with, threats, you friggin' name it. And when it came to the job, I continued to ask these people if they could help me with the job situation stuff. it was no help. You know, it was no help. But Rick Perry from Texas did came with solution. He did, and he said, Bobby. He said, my name was Bob that time in Miami, and Jews referred to me as a buck. You know, Jews used to call me buck. Buck is like a stupid animal with the horns, I understand, in Hebrew or whatever. And Hispanics, los Latinos, mestizos, they used to call me Bobo. You know, I was a stupido. You know, I was all the time, I was a stupido and stuff like that. So I was not really human. I was just a little animal. Below the animal was my status in capital of America, Jewish capital of America, known as Miami. Yeah, it was really was experience. So this Rick Perry did come up. He said, Bobby, I'm going to help you with your job search, with your situation. We did give it a good thought about it. And he started to show me the catalog, the pictures, and the pictures were literally related to Mars. And I said, what are you doing this to me? What are you showing me these pictures, the Mars and stuff like that? Some kind of barracks and stuff like that, or how it would look, and I don't know what he was showing me in that. And I said, what is this? I said, oh, this is a mission on the Mars. I said, what is this? I mean, what do I got? What is this? This, I'm not interested in any missions in Mars. Yeah, but this is a well-paid job, and they will be building over there settlements, and the people have their TV and all kinds of stuff, and they will live in this kind of containers or whatever and stuff. And I said, man, this I'm not interested in. I don't want to. He said, exactly. I said, exactly, he said. You see? He said, exactly. If you're going to talk, you know, if you're going to dare to open your mouths, that's exactly. We're collecting volunteers, not the subscribers, but we list people, potential candidates for this kind of missions. Exactly, he said, exactly. Another time was ghost planes, if you ever heard for ghost planes. Ghost planes are a wonderful thing, eh? That's when you're subjected also to a little bit fresh air. You know, when they bring you in a wheelchair and they're in front of you, they terrify some other individual. There was some other American that was also on this MK Ultras, and they have threatened, and they have, from what at least what I understood, or what I have managed to perceive as, they have had quite a few people terrifying. It was this American soldier, tough boy, and he have suggested, to the point, you know, if you're gonna be there, if you're gonna dare to talk about these things, you're gonna fall down off the plane and stuff like that. You want to talk about the drones and shit? That is just a drop in the ocean. I mean, yeah, I mean, killing American citizens, 4 American citizens, having Ted Cruz fighting over there with Eric Holder about the drone issues on American soil against American citizens and such. It's just a situation that I am. I don't really know how you could possibly translate that into anything else other than what I already have talked to you about.
You suggested there may well be circumstances in which it is permissible to use drones to target a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. I'd like to explore those circumstances. And in particular, you pointed to 2. You pointed to Pearl Harbor and 9/11, both of which were extreme military attacks on the homeland. I want to ask a more specific question. If an individual is sitting quietly at a cafe in the United States, in your legal judgment, does the Constitution allow a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil to be killed by a drone?
For sitting in a cafe and having a cup of coffee?
If that individual is not posing an imminent and immediate threat of death or bodily harm, does the Constitution allow a drone to kill that individual?
I've described this person sitting at the cafe, not doing anything imminently the use of lethal force would not be appropriate, would not be something...
I find it remarkable that you still will not give an opinion on the constitutionality. Let me move on to the next topic, because we've gone round and round.
Let me be clear. Translate my appropriate to no. I thought I was saying no.
What, no? Well, then I am glad. After much gymnastics, I am very glad to hear that it is the opinion of the Department of Justice that it would be unconstitutional to kill a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil if that individual did not pose an imminent threat. That statement has not been easily forthcoming. I wish you had given that statement in response to Senator Paul's letter asking you it. And I will point out that this week I will be introducing legislation in the Senate to make clear that the U.S. government cannot kill a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil absent an imminent threat, and I hope based on that representation that the department will support that legislation.
Oh, a little bit more on Mark Potok, on that scumbag Jew Mark Potok. Just a little bit about him. The way he works, this parasite, the way he does the business is that he tells the targeted victims, he brainwashes people in real time, how, but you do understand that I had to do that job with those people, right? That I had to do that job because of the job requires me to do what I had to do. You know, when those people already mess it up so badly, I didn't have any choice but things that I had to do because it's just because of the job. It just had to be done like that, you know, because this is, you know, if I wouldn't have done it, somebody else would have done it, right? Right? We are a friends. We are a friends. And then the scumbag goes sometimes in what was, I don't know, 2011. In my personal case, he didn't do it. He was involved in torture, beside everything else, really in physical torture against me, just as I have described. But scumbag had this Heidi Beirich. The two are together like this. They work, both Jews. He had her fabricate stories, lies about me. This is how this parasite works. Just for people to know. He writes whatever he wants to write. Okay, whatever he is pleased, whatever he wants to write, this is what he writes. And he is referred to us as a journalist. This parasite actually works for the USA Today and for the Washington Post, various journals, and for his Southern Law Poverty Center, where he actually have people that volunteers that would stood up against the racism and such, literally conditioned with ultimatum that they have to become such or they will be targeted with unemployment. And it's exactly what this parasite Jewish have approached to me with as this kind of issues. This is the scum that is today prevailing in the United States of America. Okay? If it can be anything more unbearable than this, I do not know. But they go way beyond Soviet Union. Soviet Union was a cake comparing to this scum. And just for the end of this video, because it's always for the help, you see, as you see now, it's always for the help. Even to get you killed, it should always be considered as a help. You know, assassinations are always a form of help, and you should just, whatever they do to you, it's for your sake, okay? You should always take that, as they suggest, as a form of help. Yeah, I mean, in case things would come clear as in under my case, then it's better for them to have you think it was, well, for a form of help, you know, just to help you. Yeah, and just for the end of this video, a little note to this thug, criminal, phony peacemaker, KGB agent, Putin, that little thug criminal that wants the world to pursue him to be something as he never was and he never will be part of, white nationalism. You know, the communist thug KGB, Stalin student who had little thug Tesak personally involved in my case against me, together with this parasite here from so-called Slovenia, and he is not from here. He is a Serb and a Jew, son-in-law from my sister. Weber is his name. Who was implanted in this family by this Slavojko Žižek. Therefore, engaged literally in abductions all the way from Miami to this room that you see here, where Putin personally have walked inside and have suggested me issues for how to pursue case of my own. Okay, the same as he does to this little payasos, little thugs, criminals that he have over there in Russia, these rich little Russian thugs that he controls over there. Something that police should perform according even to what are his laws, but he instead prefers to have a little gangsters, thugs running around and portray to the world, you know, the criminal ways, how, you know, it should be done. But of course it's not, because it's just for something that it's used, and it was used in this 70 years old phony piece. In other words, to incite youth throughout the Eastern Europe in criminal activities, while genocide is really taking place against them. So, in other words, to have them behave in a criminal pattern, in a criminal ways, engage themselves in a criminal activities, place themselves in a rebel form, you know, to see themselves as a rebels and not as a legal option, you know. The legal options in Russia, real white nationalism, legal options in Russia are discouraged highly. I should say suppressed. Those do exist, however, they are suppressed. Instead, it is in a criminal type of behavior that people are incited in. And it is something that this little thug, Putin, have believed that he would accomplish as well with me, as he dared to really cross inside of this room and suggest me how I should pursue my cause and stuff like that. While at the same time he had his colleague Mark Potok over there in the States to suggest me during abductions, MK Ultras, that they have recorded me with other international thugs, and my cause could be pursued, and it would be definitely pursued as an international conspiracy. You see, this is the theorist parasite Mark Potok, how he does the business. Now, if he could not, of course that he cannot prove anything like this, but at least he tried to intimidate, you see, at least he tried to. That's how he silenced the people. That's how he makes the people silenced from saying the way this 70 years old phony Jew-American Soviet piece is. And it's just a question really that I have. I don't know, Putin, Ruski, who gave you the right to... Okay, I understand that you come to this so-called Slovenia that used to be part of the German nations for over 1500 years, 1500 years that is, and of what part we natives here truly are. I understand that you come here, but you're being invited, you know, because of people, linguists that are imitating a Russian language more and more. Linguists, not only linguists, but politicians that have gone as far as literally copy and paste a Russian flag in our constitution here. This is how far these criminals have gone in this so-called Slovenia. I understand that. I completely understand that. But I don't really know where you get the guts, you know, to engage in such a criminal behavior against me personally when you know damn well that we are not related in any way.